What if I told you that you can score a 520 plus on the MCAT in only 3 months of preparation? The MCAT is an 8-hour long exam.
Oh my god, bro.
Oh, hell no.
And if you want to do well, you need structure to your schedule, which is exactly what we're going to be going over in this video. For context, I averaged a 515 towards the end of my MCAT preparation, and I'm positive that you can do the same, if not go even further than I did. At the end of this video, we're also going to be talking about a personalized AI tool that Numan created that gives you advice on how you can prepare for the MCAT in the best possible way.
Before we move on with this video, I think you should watch this one. This will give you a better idea of everything we talk about in this current video.
To make it easier for you, I'm going to list the entire 3-month schedule right here. Now keep in mind that this schedule worked for us, but if you find any bit overwhelming, feel free to adjust it. Now the good thing about this schedule is that you have some freedom to add or remove whatever you like.
The first thing you should do is take a diagnostic MCAT. You can take the AAMC free full length that is provided because it's one of the most representative exams you'll see, and it's also going to give you a realistic baseline score. After this, establish a target score for yourself that you want to reach by the end of your preparation, because a concrete goal such as this is a great motivator.
Overall, you should be studying 6 days a week with 1 dedicated rest day. For the first month, let's first talk about the car section. The hardest section on this exam. What you want to do is do 3 passages a day, and we have loads of videos on this, so you can go to our channel and see all the information that we have on this from before.
Next, you should complete 2 chapters from each subject of your Kaplan book every day. So for example, you could do biology and biochemistry on Mondays and Thursdays. Based on this, you'll be completing at least 2 chapters from each subject per week. And you'll be done content review within 6 weeks because there's 12 chapters for each book.
Make sure the chapters are from different subjects. Studying multiple subjects at the same time like this is a process known as interleaving, and it's great for improving learning efficiency. However, for the psychology and sociology section, we didn't use the Kaplan books. Instead, we used the MCAT Bros PDF as well as the associated Anki cards. Now you could use this PDF. It's pretty long. But if you want a shorter PDF, we created one that's a whopping 55 pages, and it'll massively speed up your studying. You can find it in our Instagram bio.
You should also be doing some UWorld practice questions after your content review. This is because it's a form of active recall, and that has been backed by many research articles. What I would do in the start is I would start off with 1 passage relating to the section I just studied. So for example, if I'm doing a biology one, I'll do a biology world passage, and then I'll do some discrete questions that are also biology questions. Then I would move up the amount of questions I do every time, and by the end of the month, you should be doing about 3 passages in comparison to 1.
During this, you should develop an error reflection system to keep track of any mistakes that you're making. To do so, identify the question at hand and the underlying concept behind that question. Then write out the exact mistake, whether it was a conceptual error or simply just a calculation error. Finally, do the necessary review to ensure that you don't make the same mistake again. And I would even recommend doing the question again after reviewing those resources to make sure that you actually get it. If you want our type of error reflection system that we've used, message us on Instagram or just leave a comment on this video.
Finally, you want to do your Anki flashcards for the previous day's content. This is a very engaging way to review, and because you'll be going over the content after some time, this will drastically improve your memory of it. We know this seems like a lot to do in a single day, but the MCAT is a very long exam, so you're going to need to get used to intensive studying for long periods of time. That's why you should try your best to finish as much as you can, because you will get used to this the more you study.
So after you're done all that, it's finally time to take a break.
You serious?
When I was prepping for the MCAT, I used to just go play badminton with Naman and Rushal or go to the gym because it helped clear my mind. This is something I would recommend to all of you as well. When you're studying for the MCAT, you're sitting down for long periods of time, and having this exercise can really rejuvenate you and make you more efficient.
So let me take you through what your normal day in the first month will look like. So you will start your day off with some cars practice. I know, it'll be tough, but you'll get it over with. Then you'll move into your first chapter. After that, take some break and move into your second chapter from a different subject. Then you'll go into some UWorld practice and you will end your day off with some Anki. And you will do this for 6 weeks straight.
Bro, you okay?
I'm good, bro. You geeking, bro. I'm good.
Bro.
Moving on to the second month, this is where you're going to want to start introducing third-party full lengths, as in practice exams that are not provided by the AAMC. In fact, they're being provided by other companies like Kaplan and the Princeton Review. So in terms of how frequently you want to do them, take the first one at the start of the second month and the second one 2 weeks later. Now you might be wondering, why are we only recommending for you to take 2 practice full lengths in an entire month? Well, this is because our scores really started to improve by doing practice questions and more content review, not necessarily more full lengths. These full lengths are really just for you to get accustomed to the format of the MCAT, as well as just being under pressure for that long.
Also, these exams are just meant to familiarize you with the type of content that you'll be seeing and the amount of time that actually goes into the real exam. These third-party exams are not exactly like how your AAMC exam is going to be at the end, so don't worry too much about the scores. What's more important is that you review the exam thoroughly and then you use the error reflection system we talked about to go back and see all the things you need to fix so that you can study effectively and fix all the gaps in your knowledge.
You should also be completing your daily cars practice, doing more passages every week. You should aim to complete 9 passages every day by the end of this month. You should also be doing your UWorld practice, and you should be able to do 59 questions by the end of this month if you've been working your way up to it. Additionally, you want to finish your Anki, not doing more than 2 subjects a day for Anki. And finally, if you've been following the schedule properly, you should be done your entire content review and all the Kaplan chapters 2 weeks into this month.
Now let's quickly go over what a day in your second month would look like. You can start the day off with some cars, and you can work your way up to 9 passages depending on where you are in the month. Then you can follow that up with some UWorld practice questions and end your day with some Anki. You should be finished your studying by 5 p.m. Don't forget that.
We are now in the end game, the last month of MCAT prep. In this month, you need to finish all the question packs that AAMC gives you. Now, if you calculate this, there are 780 questions. And if you're working through these questions for 3 weeks with 6 days of work every single week, then that averages to about 43 questions a day. And this might seem like a lot, but if you divide the 43 by 7, then you're really only doing 6 passages a day, so it's much more manageable than you might think.
Another crucial tip to keep in mind is to only practice AAMC cars this month. This is to ensure that you're only practicing cars passages that will be most similar to what you will experience on test day. Sources like Jack Weston and Exam Cracker's books are beneficial for practice, but their reasoning might differ from the actual AAMC reasoning, which is very important. The total amount of questions assigned in the AAMC cars package that is provided online is sufficient for the last month of practice. The package consists of 179 questions in the CARS diagnostic tool and 120 questions each in 2 different CARS question packs, which is more than enough.
The next point is to keep reviewing your Anki decks as well as focus on the areas you're weak in. There's absolutely no point in going over the areas that you know well. Instead, your time is better spent going over those weak areas that need improvement. I would recommend making a list of those areas and then going back to your prep book to reread them in great detail to ensure you understand the content. And don't be afraid to reread multiple times. I was pretty weak in the excretory system, so I had to reread that chapter 4 times.
The final tip that I'd suggest is to finish all the AAMC full lengths that you're provided in the bundle. So in the first week, you want to do the first full length, second week, second, third week, third, and then 2 days after you take that third full length, you want to take the 4th one because you don't want to burn out before your exam.
Lastly, be flexible and adapt to your situation. If something isn't working for you, don't keep doing it. Try and experiment with different strategies and see what works for you because everyone is different and we don't want you doing something that'll actually hinder your progress.
And finally, I want to talk about an AI tool or an artificial intelligence tool that I created specifically for the MCAT. ChatGPT and AI tools are on the rise these days, so I figured why not create something that could actually help our fellow pre-meds with the MCAT. This tool gives you personalized advice on how you could improve on specific sections by asking you what your specific mistakes are and what section you're currently struggling with. What's more impressive is that it also considers how much time you have left to improve those mistakes. So be sure to check it out. It's completely free to use and you can use it however many times you want.
Don't forget, this is the MedBoys MCAT month. We're going to be posting 3 more videos this month and they're going to be absolute bangers. You don't want to miss this, so subscribe to the channel, turn on the bell notification so you don't miss when the next upload comes out, and stay tuned for the next 3 videos.